Welcome everyone. I'm going to show you probably one of the greatest games of all time in chess history. It's played against Magnus Carlsen and Bobby Fischer. This is when they were both starting out towards the end of their gaming, when they were just newly into the chess world, right at the end of their reign in the chess community. So we'll just get started with this classic game. Bobby is playing white and Magnus is playing black, which is usually what happens in these scenarios. So Bobby Fischer starts off with white pawn to g4. Pretty standard. Magnus counters with your typical 5e. We'll get through the opening because it's a pretty typical opening. Bobby Fischer does the standard pawn to the H side. Magnus counters here, and this is where things get a little bit tricky because you'd think Bobby Fischer would do this, but the best move actually is over on this side, because you really want to put pressure on both sides of the board when you're playing chess, which is the genius of Bobby Fischer. Now Magnus wants to continue his power play in the middle, which is typical Magnus Carlsen. Bobby Fischer follows up with knight to h12. Magnus brings out his queen early, which he typically does. And then he tries to play again. He tries to do two moves at the same time, but the officials don't let him. So Bobby Fischer then is forced to make a move, this is pretty the standard move there. And then Magnus tries to castle, can't, as you can see here. Then we see Magnus trying to set up his pieces so he can castle. So bishop to c4, Magnus queen to Bobby to d5, Magnus to knight f3, Bobby Fischer e7, and then Magnus finally castles. And he takes about 3 moves to do it. So now he's got his king protected pretty well here. So Bobby Fischer just starts the attack. Pawn takes pawn, queen takes pawn, bishop takes queen, queen takes pawn, trying to get the king in check. However, Magnus Carlsen had his bishop here, so he just simply takes the queen. Takes, 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 takes. And there seems to be no more taking here. They want to continue the taking, so Bobby goes here. So he can take because he's so sick of Magnus taking as well. So then you have a pawn here to stop the taking, but unfortunately, the rules say that he can still take there. Takes, takes, takes. Well, he doesn't take here, but if there was a piece there, he definitely would have taken it. Then we have bishop to that spot there, here, there, takes. Let's see, any more taking? Nope, he goes there, takes, takes, advances the pawn to try to get it to queen, takes, takes, not takes, check, moves there to defend his king, pushes the pawn, but he simply takes it, takes, 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 and then he moves the pawn there. Now this is where the game gets really interesting, because you'd think that Bobby Fischer was massively ahead here, but you're wrong, because Magnus set this up for a reason, and I'll show you why. Now I've forgotten whose turn it is, but I'll just say it's Magnus's turn. So he takes there. We have knight here, which is your standard move in this situation, but he takes it. And then Bobby Fischer gets a little flustered and he starts to kind of panic a little bit. So he moves his king up, which you should never ever move your king from E to 2. You should never move your king from E to 2, but he does because he's starting to see that Magnus is getting ahead here. Takes, and then he tries to go again, but again the officials say, Magnus, you're not allowed to go again. So, but he's got two bishops. Bobby has 2 bishops. So Bobby goes here, check. King goes there, and then he moves his bishop again, check. King goes there, check. King goes there, and then he moves his piece here, thinking that that might check the king, but it doesn't. King just simply takes. So now Magnus is up a whole rook instead of a half rook. And Bobby Fischer goes here, Magnus goes here, Bobby goes here, Magnus goes here, Bobby goes here, Magnus goes here, Bobby goes here to block this, to just, get that really tight in the grips. And then Magnus finally puts him into check, which Bobby is looking at this thinking, is this checkmate? He can't go here because then the rook will just take. He can't go here because the rook can still take that. So instead, he goes there, but the pawn can take it, and also the pawn can take here. So instead, he goes here. But that's the worst move in the game because Magnus can now just go right there. And then Bobby thinks, oh, I'll just keep pushing this to get a queen, but Magnus goes, nope, I'm going to move my rook right there. And he goes, well, maybe you'll forget about this guy. And he was right. Bobby Fischer was right. Magnus completely forgot about this. And instead he goes here. And then again, Bobby's looking at this thinking, am I in checkmate? Because I can't go here, can't go here, can't go here, can't go here, can't go here. I can't move this like a knight because it's a king, and I can't go here if I was a knight because I have my piece there. But then he realizes, oh, I can just move to any one of these spots right here. So he chooses to move to the D1. So he goes here. Magnus goes here, and I don't know why Magnus did this move, because it was really stupid, because he just comes here and then turns this into a queen. Now Bobby's up, but that's okay because Magnus has more tools up his sleeve at this point. Magnus goes here, threatening to kill the queen. Bobby doesn't want his king to be killed, so he just kills the king. so that was the game. So that was the game. Bobby just took out Magnus's king. But in chess, if you take out someone's king, it's kind of like a chicken. When you cut off its head, it can still move 3 moves. So Magnus chooses the 3 moves to go here, then here, and then also take out Bobby's queen. So we'll just watch this. So he takes 3 moves in a row here, and then he takes out his king. So now you can see here's a position without any kings, which is not typical. You don't usually see chess games without kings, which is one of the reasons I wanted to show this game. Just to kind of show that this happens every once in a while, especially between 2 players, up-and-coming players like Bobby and Magnus. So it ended up being a tie, as you can tell here. I hope you learned something from this video. You can utilize a lot of these really high-level Grandmaster moves in your own chess games if you'd like. Also, if you'd like more videos, you can subscribe and do your best to really feel good about yourself. Thanks for watching, and as always, eat your leftovers.